Hey guys, welcome back. Today is day 2 of the functions unit, and today what we're going to be doing is adding, subtracting, and multiplying functions. Now, to tell you the truth, this is going to be a really easy a really easy lesson, because you already know how to add, subtract, and multiply polynomials. It's pretty much the same thing. It's just now in function notation. So we're going to do these first 4 together, so just follow along right now. So for this first, we got 2 functions here. The 2 functions are f of x, which is 2x plus 4, and g of x, which is just 3x by itself. Okay. Now what they want us to do is they want to add the functions together. Now, adding the functions together meaning they want you to add what they're equal to together. So for this one, f of x plus g of x, what is f of x? F of x is 2x plus 4, right? And g of x is just 3x. So they want us to add these two together. That's basically it. Okay? Now, you don't really need the parentheses there because we're adding the polynomials together. So all you really need to do now is just combine like terms. So the like terms that I see here are the 2x and the 3x. So when you put those together, 2x and 3x get you the 5x. The 4 has nothing to combine with it, so it's just going to come down. Okay? All right, let's take a look at number 2. Now, number 2 is asking us to subtract the functions. Okay, so again, f of x minus g of x, really, f of x is just the 2x plus 4, and g of x is just the 3x. So they just want us to subtract them now. Now, over here, this is negative 1. Negative 1 times 3 is just negative 3. All right, and we don't really need these parentheses because there's nothing out in front of it. So this is going to wind up being 2x plus 4 minus 3x. Okay, now just like number 1, we're going to combine like terms. And this time the like terms are 2x and negative 3x. So when you add those together, you're going to get negative 1. Again, it's really easy to see it if you think about money. If you have $2 and you owe me $3, you will still owe me $1 after you give me the 2, right? So that's why it's negative 1x, or just negative x. The 4 again is going to come down because it has nothing to combine with it. All right, number 3, this symbol right here means multiplication. So what they want us to do is they want us to multiply the functions together. So multiplying the 2x plus 4 with the 3x. Now, since this is a monomial, you could put it out in front and distribute it, or you can just distribute it right here, right now, because of the fact that you know that they're being multiplied together. They're right next to each other, okay? So the 3x times the 2x, we know that the coefficients multiply to be 6, and then x times x is going to be x squared, okay? Now, when you multiply the 3x with the 4, 3 times 4 is 12, and then we're still going to have x. So that's the end of that problem. All right, number 4. Again, they want us to subtract, but this time they want us to subtract the reverse. Before it was 4x minus g of x, f of x minus g of x. Now it's g of x minus f of x. So we do have to put the 3x first this time, minus the 2x plus 4. The fact that it's looking like this, you can see that we have a negative, and this negative is going to get distributed. So negative distributes into the 2 to be negative 2. Negative distributes into the 4 to get you a negative 4. That's going to get us 3x minus 2x minus 4. And over here, 3x minus 2x, that's just going to be 1x. And then the negative 4 is just going to wind up coming down because there's nothing to combine with it. All right? Now, hopefully you understood that, because now you're going to do the next ones on your own. So if you need to press pause, go for it. All right, so let's take a look at number 5. Number 5 is just like number 1. So go ahead and add these functions together. Oh, I'm sorry, you can't add them together because you don't know what g of x is. Go ahead and put g of x in there. G of x is x minus 2. Now you can go ahead and do these problems starting with number 5. So you got to add f of x plus g of x. Go ahead and do that right now. All right, guys, hopefully you got this correct. Now again, f of x is the negative 4x plus 7. G of x is just the x minus 2. So all you got to do is just combine these polynomials together. Again, since you're adding the polynomials, you don't really need the parentheses there. So all you got to do is just combine like terms. Negative 4x and x put together, all right? And then this time we do have constant terms in common, so we're going to underline those twice. So negative 4x plus x, that's going to wind up getting you negative 3x. And then we have the 7 minus 2, that's going to get you 5. So this function winds up being negative 3x plus 5, okay? All right, number 6 is just like number 2. So if you need to look above, you can. Go ahead and do this one on your own. All right, guys, hopefully you got this one correct. So again, they want us to take f of x, which is the negative 4x plus 7, and they want us to subtract g of x, which is the x minus 2. So what we need to do here, since we have a negative and there's a binomial here, we're going to have to distribute this negative, okay? So this is just going to come down, and then negative times x is negative x. Negative times the negative 2 is a positive 2, all right? We have 4 terms. 2 of them are the same, and the other 2 are the same to each other. So let's go ahead and combine like terms. So negative 4x and negative x together make negative 5x. 7 and 2 make 9. So we have the negative 5x and we have the plus 9. Okay? All right, number 7, do this one on your own. Again, this is kind of like number 3 above. Go ahead and do that. All right, guys, again, hopefully you got this correct. Now what they want us to do is multiply f of x and g of x. F of x is the negative 4x plus 7. G of x is the x minus 2. So what they want us to do with these is multiplying. Since you have a binomial times a binomial, and we just finished the unit where we had to do this a lot of times, what are we going to use? We're going to use the crab claw. So negative 4x times x, negative 4x times negative 2. We have 7 times x, 7 times negative 2. So let's go ahead and multiply these together. Negative 4x times x is negative 4x squared. Negative 4x times negative 2 is a positive 8x. 7 times x is 7x, and then 7 times negative 2, that's going to get you negative 14. Now, notice we have 4 terms, but 2 of them are the same. So you can combine these 2 together. 8x and 7x together are going to be 15x. So we're going to have negative 4x squared plus 15x minus 14. That's your answer. All right. Number 8, let's go ahead and do this one. All right, I'm going to give you guys a second. All right, again, hopefully you did this one correct. Now, this is very similar to number 6, but it's in reverse. So over here, you had the negative 4x plus 7 first. In this one, you're going to have the x minus 2 first, and then the negative 4 plus 7 is going to follow. So what do we need to do here? Well, we need to take that negative, and we need to distribute it onto the negative 4, and we need to distribute it onto the 7. Now we can go ahead and we can bring this down, and then these signs change to a positive 4 and a negative 7. Let's go ahead and combine like terms now. The like terms is that we have 2 x's. This is x, that's 4x. Let's combine those. And then we have 2 constants. We have a negative 2 and a negative 7. So let's go ahead and combine these. We have 1 and 4 get you 5x. Negative 2 and negative 7 get you a negative 9. All right, again, hopefully you got all these correct. We're now going to go to the back side with a couple more complicated ones. Now we're going to do the first one together, but if you need to press pause, go ahead, and then we can come back. All right, number 9. Okay, now you need to put in g of x. So go ahead and put g of x, which is this trinomial, x to the 4th minus 8x squared minus 10x, okay? Now they want us to add the functions together. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put the first one, it's a polynomial, and then I'm going to add this trinomial, all right? Now again, we really don't need the parentheses there because of the fact that we have an addition sign here. So this is what we have. We have 7 terms. There's some that are the same term, so that's what we're going to do now. We're going to combine like terms. Like terms are going to be the 2x to the 4 and the x to the 4. We have x squared, and then we also have another x squared. We have a positive 10 and a negative 10x, and then we have a constant of 3. So let's go ahead and add these together, the 2x to the fourth and the x to the fourth, there's really an invisible 1 here, so that's 2 plus 1. That's going to get you 3x to the fourth. Now, please don't cancel these out because they're both negative. You only cancel them out when they're different signs. Since these are negative, we got negative 8 and negative 8. That's going to get you a negative 18x squared. And then these two will cancel because they are opposite signs. One's a positive, one's a negative. All right, so they're going to cancel. You don't even have to write any x's. And then we have 3, which again doesn't combine with anything, so it's just going to come down. So we wind up with this trinomial. All right, we're going to do number 10 together. Now number 10, it's we're going to use the same functions, but then instead of f of x plus g of x, we are now going to look for f of x minus g of x. So I'm going to go ahead and write f of x in that big parentheses, and we're going to subtract this trinomial. Okay? Now, the fact that we have a negative there, we need to go ahead and distribute the negative onto the trinomial. So that's going to change all of the signs. So the polynomial is going to come down, and then negative 1 times x is negative x to the fourth. Negative times a negative 8 is a positive 8x squared. Negative times a negative 10, that's going to get you a positive 10x. All right, so let's go ahead and combine like terms again. We have the 4s, all right, we have the x to the fourth that are the same. We have x squareds that are the same. We have x's that are the same, and then we have that constant of positive 3 again. All right, so we're going to go ahead and combine these together. We have 2x to the fourth minus x to the fourth together. That makes 1x to the fourth. Okay, or just x to the fourth. You don't really need the 1 there. Now, this time they are opposites. We have a negative 8 and we have a positive 8. They are opposites, so they will cancel. And this time we have 2 positive 10s, so those are just going to combine to be 20x. And then the 3 again is going to come down because he has nothing to combine with. All right, now the last one, number 11, I want you to do this one on your own. This one is very similar to number 10. It's just the reverse. Instead of f of x minus g of x, we now have g of x minus f of x. Go ahead and do this one on your own. All right, guys, I hope you got that correct. Let's take a look at what this looks like. So this time we're going to put the trinomial first because g of x comes first. So the trinomial is g of x. We're going to put that first, and we're going to subtract the polynomial f of x. All right, we're going to have to distribute again. So that negative is going to distribute onto the 2, onto the negative 8, onto the positive 10, and onto the positive 3, changing all of their signs. So it winds up being a negative 2x to the fourth, a positive 8x squared, a negative 10x, and a negative 3. So let's go ahead and combine like terms. We have x to the 4, x to the 4. We have x squared, we have an x and an x, and then we have that 3, that this time it's a negative 3, a constant, but it's the only constant. So putting x and negative 2x, x to the fourth and negative 2x to the fourth, that's going to get you a negative 1x to the fourth. So we put negative x to the fourth right there. Again, the 8's cancel because they are opposite signs. One is positive, one is negative. Now, we have negative 10 and negative 10. Again, they're not opposite signs, so they are going to combine. Negative 10 and negative 10 together make a negative 20x. And then we're going to bring down the negative 3 because that's what's left. Okay? So again, once you're done with this, tell me so I can give you the worksheet, and we'll talk later.